there's something about, I like agile. I like it architecturally. I like spaces that are agile because I want a teacher to be able to go, here's what we need now. I want kids to go, sorry, get out of the way, we've got a group now. Because they're solving problems, they need the resources and spaces and the furniture and the tools and the whomever's to shift. I like agile a lot. I like authentic. I don't care what it's called as long as it's real learning.
What do we need? We need caring institutions. We need to remember that we teach kids before we teach subjects. That is the most important thing we can do. Too many kids get turned off because they feel like the subject is more important than they are. Wow, I'm 15 seconds ahead. There we go. Student-centered learning. We need to understand it's not about the teacher in the front of the room. The teacher's important. There's no question about that. But it's about what the kids can do. It's about what they can make. It's about creating a 21st century citizen. That was the bias I forgot, by the way. It's not about a workforce. It's about a citizenry. And they're very, very different. We need to make schools that are inquiry-driven. We need to ask questions together as a community, right? We know how we learn best as adults. It's when we've got something to figure out, not when somebody tells us what they want us to know. Why are our schools that way in too many places?
Because I don't know why they would stand still for 4 years while the world is offering them opportunities. Right? Why don't they go to school for 50 years? Why do they only go for 4? I will invest in 50 years of their education if they can make a good argument for it, but I don't want to send them for 4. And I think in 20 years, it's going to be financially immoral. It's either going to be underwritten for free, right? Or it's going to be just in time, which means 50 years. Or it's going to be an immoral decision, right? At $10,000 to $200,000 a year, do the math. To what? Work it as a barista? To have your undergrad degree not be worth anything? It's already questionable as to whether or not an undergraduate degree. We don't ask the right question. Not how do you get in? How do you thrive once you're there? We're great at getting kids into college. We love our entrance numbers. We're lousy at validating that they did anything 2 years in, and they felt at home. They felt empowered once they were there. So, but engagement and interaction. At the end of the day, if your kids are not interactive, how can they be engaged? Nothing they're going to do professionally is ever going to allow them to just sit there and passively receive content. Tool 2.0. Some of you might know this, so apologize if I give a bad definition, but essentially means it's two-way. It isn't expert leaving information in the hands of a novice. It's that novice that throws it back. And it isn't just there's a school with information, it's the school goes both ways. They're a publishing house and a content distributor, and they're a place where you learn at speed, and a place where you test, and a place where you manipulate, and it's a museum. And it has to go in every direction. It has to be global. It has to be immediate, real-time publication and feedback. Because your kids aren't getting real feedback on their assumptions, or there's just me in the room, forget them learning to play well for me. I am one member of their audience, and I will not be relevant in 9 months. I want them to know how to be agile in front of 1,000 audiences, just in time. So the classroom better be good at that. So what I love about it is it's also a reminder that it doesn't have to look pretty to be inspired. It doesn't have to be high production to go viral. And let's forget them as professionals, as musicians and artists. Let's think of it as a metaphor for our young people. Because modest equipment and no sense of this is how it was done really well the last time somebody did the treadmill video. I would argue if we stopped now and I said, these are your students, figure out how to inspire them. And by the way, they don't have time for you to figure out they're inspiring themselves. They just can't do it in school because the systemic rules are so important to keeping the systemic rules in order that they have to wait till 3:30 or 4:30 or Sunday, or frankly in the middle of gym when they're really daydreaming their video and stuff like this. And there's nothing a kid couldn't do. There's nothing that a 12-year-old couldn't do here.
And it's got to be metacognitive. We've got to get kids to ask questions about the way they think and learn, because they do it differently. Let's get them to think about, how do I learn best? How do I think best? How do I work best? What does that look like? This is a traditional classroom. You probably recognize this kind of hierarchy of assessment, where if the teacher might have done a little project, might have asked for some question class. When they really wanted to know what you had to learn, they gave you a test. It's recall-based learning. And you know what? In the age of Google, it's just absolutely obsolete. This is what we need. Tests and quizzes, they've got a role. Sure, you want a dipstick, find out how a kid is doing? Give a quiz, absolutely. But you want to see what kids have learned, give them a project. Dare them to show you what they can do with the work of their own head, heart, and hands. That's when you'll get kids engaged. That's when you'll get kids learning. And that's when you'll get kids who can change the world.